सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। So the 15th chapter begins with samsara varnanam, description of samsara, where Bhagavan says the entire samsara, the experience of change, is self-created. We show interest in the world, so therefore the experience of the world continues. We show interest in the sense objects. We show interest in various kinds of experiences. And since we show interest in the world, the experience of the world continues from birth to birth. So what you should do to put an end to this samsara? This samsara is basically, for a sensitive man, it is basically painful because it is unpredictable and it is perishable. So what has to be done? If you are done with the play of this world, if you are fed up with this world, if you have put an end to this samsara, what should be done? So Bhagavan says, the entire experience is for the ego. Put an end to the ego. When pure consciousness, which is infinite and immortal, when it identifies with the limited BMI, the experience is that of imperfection. When the limited BMI experiences imperfection within, it seeks happiness outside. It seeks perfection outside. So why we are showing interest in the world? We are showing interest in the world because we think happiness is in the world. Why do we think happiness is in the world? We think happiness is in the world because in me I don't find happiness. Why I don't find happiness in me? Because according to me, I am this BMI, which is finite, which is limited. So Bhagavan says, try to know yourself, the real self in you, which can be known only by disidentification. So disidentify from what you are not, identify with what you are, and then you will find infinite bliss in your own self. And the moment you come to know that you are already full, you are already complete, you are already perfect, naturally there won't be any more desires. And the moment you stop having desires for the world, that very same moment, the world ceases to appear for you. So for what happens to such a Mahātmā? Nirmāna mohaha jita sangadoshaha adhyatmanitya vinivrittakāmaha. So such a person becomes free from ego and ego-related delusions. All our delusion is because of the ego, because of self-ignorance. And what are those delusions? There are plenty of them. To name a few, yesterday we had discussed this point in detail. You think the world is the source of happiness. You think material prosperity is the source of happiness. There are all various kinds of delusions. You think boosting the ego is the source of happiness. Because for an egoistic person, whenever he is praised, he finds he is more happy. So therefore, if praising me leads to more happiness, so therefore I should do everything where people tend to praise me. Now this is again another kind of delusion. There is a very famous saying which says, an egoistic person buys things which he don't want, which he doesn't need, to impress people whom he doesn't love, with money which he doesn't have. An egoistic person buys things which he doesn't need to impress people whom he doesn't like, with the money which he doesn't have. The entire life is a life of delusion. This person is nirmanaha, free from ego. So therefore there is no kind of moha, etc. There is a famous saying, spirituality is not about walking in the air or walking on water. It is all about walking on plain earth. Now when a person walks on earth, it is such a simple thing. It is such an ordinary thing, isn't it? Spirituality is all about becoming very simple, becoming very, very ordinary. It is so ordinary that people miss the point. So what happens in this delusion? The most important things becomes unimportant, and the most unimportant thing becomes important. This is delusion. What is the most important thing in life? Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Sadguna, Mumukshutvam. These are all the most important things in life. For an egoistic man, all these things have no value at all. What does he value? Only the most unimportant externalities of life. Coating, suiting, booting. Raymond, the complete man. Just because of your shirt and suit, will you become complete? For an egoistic person, that is the definition of completeness. External show. If mere shirt and suit can make you complete, then Mahatma Gandhi must be incomplete. Ramana Maharshi must be empty man, not complete man, empty man. This is called moha. Most unimportant thing becomes the most important. I really don't understand why this piece of stone called diamond is so precious. What should be most precious in life? Food, drink, because that is the necessities of life. Why people are so crazy about this piece of stone, which is of no use at all, just because of its glitter? Why people spend lakhs and crores, I just don't understand. This is called moha. Unimportant things are most important. And the most important thing, which can give you liberation, devotion, dispassion, noble virtues, it has no value at all. Prayer, meditation, it has no value at all. This is called moha. So here this man who has attained this state is free from all kinds of moha. His understanding about life is clear. His understanding about himself, his understanding about himself and the world, and his understanding about God. Everything is perfectly clear. That's the meaning, nirmoha. Free from the darkness of ignorance. How did he attain it? Adhyatma nityaha. Nityaha, ever abiding in the knowledge of the self. Adhyatma, pertaining to the self. Pertaining to the Supreme Self. Adhyatma nityaha. For him, the Supreme Self is the most important thing. Not the incidental body, mind, intellect. So such a person attains the highest. So what is the nature of that consciousness? Na tad bhasayate suryaha, na shashanko na pavakaha, yad gatva na nivartante, tad dhama paramātmā. This highest state is nothing but the pure light of consciousness shining in the heart of all. That light of consciousness, because of which you are aware of all the external lights. That light of consciousness which shines even when no other light is present. So just now we experienced darkness. How did you know that darkness? In which light did you know darkness? That light of consciousness which is able to illumine even the darkness, that light of consciousness is the supreme truth. Is none other than God alone. So after having discussed this, now Bhagavan takes up a new topic. The new topic is, I am none other than this Jīvātmā. Jīvātmā and me, the Paramātmā, there is no difference. We are one and the same. How? So yesterday we were discussing this. Jiva bhutaha, this one who has become Jiva, Jīvātmā, mama eva amshaha. He is none other than my own expression, my own part, my own fragment. And therefore he is Sanatanaha, he is also eternal. How is this Jīvātmā eternal? So that discussion is taken up. So yada Ishvaraha utkramati, when this Jīvātmā leaves the body. So here what we are talking of is the death of a Jīvātmā. So what Bhagavan is trying to say is, the physical death is not the end of Jīvātmā. Jiva continues even when the physical body dies. So what happens? When this Jīvātmā leaves the body, what does it do? Manashashthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. It takes along with it what? Manashashthani indriyani. The 5 indriyas along with the mind. So total 6. These 6 factors it takes along with it. From where does it take? Prakritisthani, from the body. Grihitvaitani sanyati. So after having taken these 6 factors, the Panchajnanendriyas and the mind, taking this, it travels. So how does it take it? Vayurgandhaniva ashayat. Just like the wind takes the fragrance from the flower, leaving the flower there itself, totally unseen. How the wind takes away the fragrance. In the same way, Jīvātmā, while leaving the physical body, it takes away these 5 jnanendriyas and the mind. So here wind means Jīvātmā, flower means the physical body, and the fragrance means the sukshma sharīra, the pancha jnanendriyas and the mind. Then what does it do? Shariram yadavapnoti, it takes up another body, and after reaching another body, what does it do? Shrotram, chakshus, sparshanam, rasanam, ghranam, manaschayam, adhisthaya, vishayan upasevate. It takes up another body and fixes the respective indriyas in the respective places, and then vishayan upasevate. It starts consuming the vishayas. It starts leading a new life in the new body. So now, there are some points to be discussed here. What is death? To understand what is death, we must know what is life. So what is life? So now in this physical body, we find that this body is made up of 5 elements. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi. This physical body is a combination of 5 elements, and we know that each of these elements, each one is inert. It has no life. It is insentient. It is jada. So if each of these elements is jada, the combination of these elements also should be jada. But now we find that the body is alive, sentient. It has a life. It is throbbing with life. From where has this life come from? So then the scriptures say, this life principle, this sentiency principle has come from consciousness. But consciousness cannot directly enliven the body. Instead, consciousness enlivens the mind, and then the mind enlivens the body. So consciousness enlivens the body indirectly. Consciousness cannot directly enliven the body. Consciousness enlivens the mind, intellect, and that mind, intellect in turn enlivens the physical body. To give an example, so suppose there is a sun. In the summer, you see in the afternoon, the sun is there shining brightly in the sky. But there is a dark room also because of the roof. So if you take a piece of mirror and make that light reflect into the room becomes illumined, isn't it? The sunlight cannot directly illumine the room, but through a piece of mirror, you can illumine the room. So here the sun represents consciousness, the piece of mirror represents the mind-intellect equipment, and the dark room represents the physical body. So the room is illumined means the body is enlivened. But suppose you take away the mirror, though the sunlight is present, but the room will remain dark, isn't it? This is the example. So why is it that our body is appearing alive now? The body is appearing alive because it is getting the sentiency from the mind-intellect equipment. Mind-intellect equipment, normally we call it as sukshma sharīra. The physical body is called sthula sharīra, gross body. The mind is called sukshma sharīra, or the subtle body. So consciousness enlivens the subtle body enlivens the gross body, and thus this physical gross body appears alive. Now at the time of death, what happens? At the time of death, this sukshma sharīra leaves the body. And that is what is mentioned here. Manashashthani indriyani karshati means sukshma sharīra leaving the body. So what happens when the sukshma sharīra leaves the body? Now the physical body cannot be enlivened directly by consciousness, so therefore body appears dead. It is no more alive. Actually, physical body is ever dead only because it is made up of matter. Matter is always jada, but it appears alive, sentient, because of the presence of consciousness or sukshma sharīra. Body appears alive because of consciousness or sukshma sharīra. Not consciousness, but sukshma sharīra. Why? Consciousness is all pervading. Even after death also consciousness is there because it is all pervading. Consciousness is present, but it is not able to enliven the body because of the absence of sukshma sharīra. Are you able to understand? To give an example, there is a sun, there is a pot of water, you see the reflected sun in the pot. Right? Suppose you remove the water, will you see the reflected sun? No. Why you are not seeing the sun? Not because sunlight is not there, but because the reflecting medium is not there. In the same way, body is dead not because of the absence of consciousness, but because of the absence of sukshma sharīra, subtle body. Right? Now here in this case, Bhagavan has made the whole thing simple. He has defined sukshma sharīra as 5 jnanendriyas and mind. Actually the list is big. Sukshma sharīra will contain pancha jnanendriyas, pancha karmendriyas, pancha pranas, manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Total 19 factors. All of them come under sukshma sharīra. But here the whole thing is made simple. Not only that, it is not only the sukshma sharīra which leaves, even the kārana sharīra also leaves. Sukshma sharīra and kārana sharīra leaves the body. But here the whole thing is made simple, only sukshma sharīra is mentioned. For more details about this, please refer to Tattva Bodha, that is the fundamentals of Vedanta. Tattva Bodha is the text which is meant for the beginners. Right. So at the time of death, what happens? This sukshma sharīra leaves the physical body, and the moment it leaves this physical body falls down dead. And then what happens to the sukshma sharīra? At the appropriate time, at the right place, at the right time, this sukshma sharīra enters into another sthula sharīra, another physical body. And then what it does? All the jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, pranas, etc., they fix it in the respective places. So yesterday I had given the difference between jnanendriyas and golakas. What is the difference? The ability to see is jnanendriya. The physical eye with which we see is called golakas. So while taking, it doesn't take the golaka, it takes only the indriyas. And while fixing, already the golakas are present, the indriyas are fixed into golakas. This change of physical body is exactly like how we change our residence. Suppose you are transferred to a different place related to your job. What will you do? So you will pack up, isn't it? So many things are there in the dining room. So many things are there in the kitchen. So many things are there in the bathroom. So many things are there in the bedroom. All those things you will bundle up. You will put it into some truck or something. Then, before going to the place, first of all you ensure that the place is present, isn't it? What is the first thing you do? Because before you get transferred, where should I go? Which is the house to stay? You just don't go anywhere. First you ensure that the house is ready, and then you shift, isn't it? After shifting, what do? You have the bundle with you, now you start depacking. When you remove the pack, where will the things go? Into the respective places. The things you have taken from the previous kitchen, those things will go back to the present kitchen. The things you have taken from the dining room, the bedroom, the bathroom, all those things, they go back to the respective places. It is the same thing that happens here also. Indriyas are taken from the previous body, now the indriyas go into the present body. Now the question is, why should we take new birth? Why is this new body given to us? Now we are discussing samsara. Samsarati iti samsaraha. Continuous change. Even the body is changing. Why this new birth is given to us? New body is given to us. Reason number 1, to fulfill the unfulfilled desires. So in the previous body, this Jīvātmā had so many desires, and as he was fulfilling these desires, he passed away. So what does it mean? There are so many unfulfilled desires. So Bhagavan, out of compassion, is giving him another chance to fulfill those unfulfilled desires. To take our Ranganna example, I hope you remember. How did he die? How did he die? Accident, car accident. Where was he going? So he was planning for a new party, etc. It's a fictitious story. Don't come and ask me, Swamiji, is it real and all that. So this person wanted to make a new party and he was busy with all these meetings, etc. Party meetings. And then he died. So what was that unfulfilled desire? To make a new party. So naturally, what kind of circumstances he will be born? The desire was to make a new party. He might be born as a son of some politician. Right? The circumstances should be such that he will be able to fulfill his unfulfilled desire. So this is true with every one of us. Somewhere some desires are there. All those desires you try to fulfill in the new birth. Only two options are there. Either you no more desire what you were desiring, or you fulfill that desire. Very many times you desire something, then in between you drop it. Sometimes your desire is so strong that you badly wanted something. When you badly want something, then the life take its own course in order to fulfill your unfulfilled desire. So this is reason number 1 why we take new birth. Reason number 2, in order to exhaust our prarabdha karmas. Second reason. Very many karmas we have done. All those karmas are waiting for fructification. The karma cycle gets over only when the performer of the karma becomes the enjoyer of the karma phala. Only then the entire cycle gets complete. You perform an action, and that action in turn will give some results, and when you enjoy those results, when you become a bhokta, that particular cycle gets completed. So there are so many karmas we have done in the past. So depending upon those karmas which are ready for fructification, a body is given to us, so that that particular set of karmas, we are able to go through those karma phalas. So we say, in order to exhaust the prarabdha karmas. Prarabdha karmas are those karmas which have been culled out from the sanchita karma and which are ready for fructification. Those set of actions are called prarabdha karmas. So in order to exhaust the prarabdha karmas, we come back to this world. This is reason number 2. Reason number 3, we come back to this world in order to evolve, in order to grow, in order to become mature, in order to gain the knowledge. So when will this journey end? The journey ends the moment the Jīvātmā becomes one with Paramātmā. Till then the journey continues. So because of all these reasons, new body is given to us. The journey ends the moment you come to know yourself as a supreme self, Satchit Anand, infinite bliss, immortal bliss. When you come to know this, there are no more desires. And not only that there are no more desires, the individuality is gone for good. The ego is dead, and once the ego is dead, the samsara also is gone. So this is the reason why we undergo rebirth. So what happens at the time of death? Actually speaking, we don't die. There is not even a single person in the whole world who has experienced death. If you define death as experience of non-existence, it is impossible to experience death. Death is only an illusion in the eyes of others. Even when the person drops the body, that person will never experience non-existence. Non-existence is only an illusory concept made by those people who are seeing the body falling dead. Somebody's body falling dead. Are you able to understand? We imagine that if I become dead, I will become non-existent. No. The experience of existence continues. So what happens at the time of death? The sukshma sharīra continues to travel. So you exist as sukshma sharīra. So therefore you are sanatana, eternal. There is no death for you. No, there are very many questions which normally people ask regarding this. Though it is not directly connected to the topic, still we will take up one or two. Number one, how long will a person take in order to take a new birth? These are the questions people ask. The answer is, it is uncertain. There cannot be a specific reason. After this many years you will take. There is no such clear-cut answer for this question. It is possible that the person may take the birth next moment itself, and it is possible that the person may not take birth for ages together. Normally it is said, if a person is extremely a punyatma or a papatma, getting a body is difficult. Because such a kind of atmosphere has to be created so that this jiva can be born there. So therefore this question cannot be answered. It depends from person to person. It depends from the vasanas. It depends on the vasanas of the individual. Now the next question is it possible to go back to our past? Is it possible to know our past? So in this birth I am like this. What I had gone through in my previous birth, is it possible to know? The answer is yes. There are methods called regression, etc., where people are able to experience their past. But the scriptures strongly recommend that this should not be done. Why this should not be done? See, there is a purpose because of which Bhagavan has made you forget your past, isn't it? The very fact that you are not able to access your past birth shows that Bhagavan has a very good reason why you should not do it. And what is the reason? The reason is simple. If you remember your past, it is possible that you may not be able to live in the present, in this birth. We are all evolving. Majority of us, we are evolving. So naturally, one thing is for sure, my past will be much more inferior to my present birth, isn't it? So if my past is inferior, if you go back to your past, will you come back disturbed or will you come back peaceful? Yes. Very many times it might so happen that the person has committed some terrible mistake and he has been caught up in some immoral act, and in the eyes of the society he has fallen. He has been jailed. His name has been tarnished. Now he is in a situation where he can't live in the society. The whole society is looking down upon him. In such moments, death comes as a blessing in disguise. It's a blessing. Because after that, that person will not be able to live in the society. The moment this person is seen, the entire society will say, this is that person who did such and such thing. Isn't it? Just imagine the condition of that person. So it is always better that he leaves that physical body and Bhagavan out of his compassion gives him a new body so that he can start his life afresh. So in that fresh life, he has forgotten his past, but the lessons remain, the samskaras remain, but the experiences are forgotten. Because otherwise, he might not be able to continue his journey. So there are very many reasons why this has been consciously done by Bhagavan. We are not able to remember the past so that the past may not interfere with the present birth. In life, this is what happens. You commit a mistake, you suffer for it, you learn lesson and you move forward. This is true with every one of us. So this world is a place where we are given lot of opportunities to commit mistake and to learn and to grow. So death comes as a blessing because now you have forgotten all your past mistakes. You are given a fresh life and thus it helps you to evolve further. So therefore it is not at all advisable to go back to the past, to dig out the past memories from the burial ground. Now, another question. What is the next question? Can we contact the dead? These are all the questions normally people ask. A person is dead and you are very much attached to that person. Can we contact the dead? This dead person who has left the physical body, he is called as a preta. Preta means a ghost. But actually preta means pareta. Pareta means the one who has departed. That's all it means. Now what is his condition? His condition is, he has left the physical body, but now he is waiting in a subtle form to get the next body. Can we contact the dead? Yes, that technique is also there. But the scriptures strongly recommend not to do it. Why? That person has come to your life for a purpose. There was something which he has to learn and there was something which you had to learn. Now, the life has come to an end. Now he is continuing with his onward journey. Don't disturb that. The moment you are trying to contact the dead, you are preventing his onward journey. Don't disturb. Let him continue. Offer your prayers to the Lord. Express your gratitude. That's all what you need to do. You need not do anything else. So scriptures strongly recommend not to contact them, not to pull them back. Right. Next question is, can these pretas harm us? Can these pretas harm us? The answer is no. These pretas are very, very, very weak. But one thing is there. Out of your fear for the preta, you can become weaker than the weak. And thus it can affect you. So you are affected not because the preta is strong. You are affected because of your worries about the preta. In fact, your own mind makes you weak. And then such a weak mind projects things which are not there. And therefore the people say, I have experienced this, that, etc. It's all your weak mind. Right. Now another question is, what is the proof that all this is true? A Jīvātmā leaving the body and going to another body and all that. What is the proof? Well, we answer this question from 3 standpoints. Number 1, Shruti. Number 2, Yukti. Number 3, Anubhuti. What do the Shrutis say? What do the scriptures say? Scriptures very clearly say, Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grunhati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani sanyati navani dehi. Second chapter. Just like we shed our old clothes and we take up new clothes, in the same way the Jīvātmās, they drop the body and take up the new body. Whether it is Upanishads or whether it is Bhagavad Gita, it is there. If Shruti has said it, it is 100% true. The only thing is you must have faith in the Shruti. Now the next thing is Yukti. What does the logic say? Logic also supports this phenomenon. What does the logic say? There should be a continuity. So somebody has done some karma, so naturally he should go through karma phala. So in this birth, if he has not gone through karma phala, naturally it should mean that he should have another birth in order to go through karma phala. Number 1. Number 2, in this world we find that some people are born in slums, malnourished, uncultured, uneducated, mentally retarded. We find such children born. And we also find other children who are born in a very cultured family, healthy, intelligent, brilliant. Now suppose you don't take this phenomenon into consideration, that there is no birth, only this birth, that's all. And then finally there is a final judgment. If this is what you believe in, then how will you answer this question? One child is born in a most unconducive environment. Another child is born in a conducive environment. How will you answer this question? If you don't take the previous birth into consideration, you will never be able to answer this question. In fact, then you will have to say, God is partial. He is cruel to this and He is compassionate to that person, which is unacceptable. Isn't it? This is Yukti, logic. Then the third one, Anubhuti. Anubhuti means experience. There are lots and lots of cases where the person who is born is able to remember the past. Because of some medical reason, this person doesn't have that wheeling in the brain, because of which he is cut off from the past. Then what happens? This child, at the age of 5, at the age of 6 itself, he says, I am born in such and such village. I belong to such and such village, and my children and grandchildren are playing there. Who is telling? This 5-year-old kid is telling. So many such cases are there. The modern psychology they have also started accepting this fact, because that's what they see. So Anubhuti also tells the same thing. So through yukti, shruti, anubhuti, we come to the same conclusion that this must be true. So enough of this dead bodies and all that. Let us move forward. The purpose of this discussion is only one. This Jīvātmā is none other than Paramātmā, and this Jīvātmā also is Sanatanaha, eternal. Bodies may change, but he continues to exist in different manifestation. Of course, there is another question. Swamiji, is animal body possible? According to Bhagavad Gita, very much possible. It is not necessary that a human being should be born again a human being in the next birth. No. If in the human being, if he had behaved like an animal with all kinds of animalistic tendencies, then Bhagavan, out of compassion, gives him an animal body. So here is a person who is, full of kama, krodha, lobha, eating only non-veg, morning, afternoon, evening. So then Bhagavan thinks, oh, I have made a mistake. He loves non-veg so much. So why not give him farm fresh non-veg? So therefore next birth he is born as some tiger or lion. Fresh. Canine teeth is necessary for non-veg. In human birth you don't have such canine teeth and all that. And moreover, they say the intestine also is not fit enough to digest this flesh. So therefore, accordingly a birth is given. Right. So therefore, there is no such convention or necessity that a person who is born now as a human being is again born as a human. There is no such rule. In fact, in the 16th chapter, Bhagavan makes it very clear. Kshipami ajasrama shubhan asurishveva yonisho. Those people who live only, like an animal, full of anger, greed, lust, passion, hatred, revenge. Bhagavan says, such people, I throw them into the wombs of the demons. So therefore, animal birth is very much possible. Right. Now, the next topic is lamenting of Bhagavan. Bhagavan says, this Jīvātmā is none other than me, but what a tragedy that though I am so near to him, he is not recognizing me. So literally Bhagavan is crying. So let us chant verse number 10 and 11. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudhananupashyanti Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha yatanto yoginaschainam pasyantyatmanyavasthitam yatantopyakritatmanaha nainam pasyantyachetasaha utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam pashyanti jnana chakshushaha yatanto yoginaschainam pasyantyatmanyavasthitam yatantopyakritatmanaha. Yes. Vimudhaha na anupashyanti jnana chakshushaha pashyanti. Those who are ignorant, those people don't experience me, they don't see me. Whereas jnana chakshushaha, the wise people who have that jnana chakshu, the eye of wisdom, they very easily, at all times, they experience me. How do they experience me? Utkramantam sthitam bhunjanam gunanvitam. At all times. So who is Bhagavan? Bhagavan is none other than the consciousness in us. That consciousness which is Satchit Anand. Now is he there or not? How do you know? Sthitam. Just ask one question to yourself. Do I exist? Sthitam. Do I exist? If you ask this question to yourself, what will be your answer? Any doubt? Suppose the famous doctor comes and says, no, you are dead. Will you accept? It is your direct experience that you exist. It is not a mere it is not an imagination, but it is your experience. I exist, isn't it? Bhagavan says that existence is actually my existence, which you have misunderstood as your existence. When you sit in meditation with closed eyes, you experience existence, isn't it? Just pay attention to that existence. Actually, that existence belongs to Bhagavan, which you have usurped it. And now you say it is my existence. It is a misunderstanding. Actually, you don't exist. What exists is only Bhagavan. You are vainly claiming that you exist. What exists is only Bhagavan. Exactly like in the dream. In the dream, what is my experience? I exist and the world exists. But actually speaking, who alone exists? It is not the dreamer, but only the waker, isn't it? Sthitam. So again and again, why we are discussing is, shift your attention to this existence in you. This existence is none other than Bhagavan. Your mind will be extremely disturbed, but still, do you experience that existence? Yes. Because that existence is not a thought-based existence. It is not a mind-based existence. It is not an imaginary existence. It is existence itself, which has nothing to do with the mind. Whether the mind is there or not, that existence continues. So every time, take your attention to this. I exist, which is my experience. This existence is the existence of Bhagavan. So can you say God is non-existent? You ask this question to an atheist. God exists or not? I don't believe in His existence. Okay, you don't believe in His existence. Do you exist? Of course I exist. The very I in you is His existence. The I am, which we all the time use, this I in its purest form is none other than God. So Bhagavan says, Titam, I am there. You can't miss it. You can ignore it. That choice is yours. You may ignore me. That choice is yours. You may disregard me. That choice is yours. You may not know me. That choice is yours. But I am there. Vimudhaha nanupashyanti. Foolish people, they don't know that this existence which they experience all the time is none other than Bhagavan's existence. Vimudhaha, they don't see me. Though they experience me. Though I am always there. Bhagavan only in Sthitam. Now here Sthitam also means the existence of the body. What is it that gives the sentiency to the body? The inert body is alive because of whom? Because of this consciousness. Jnana chakshusha pashyanti. So when you see your heart beating, when you see your kidney functioning, when you see your breath, this inert bundle of flesh is alive. Because of whom? Jnana chakshushaha pashyanti. The people who have this jnana chakshu, they see. They infer. Pashyanti means what? They infer. Just like when the fan is rotating, what do you infer? You are not seeing electricity, but you infer the presence of electricity, isn't it? What you see is only the movement of the fan, but you infer the presence of electricity. So that way, you have a jnana chakshu with respect to electricity. You know. With that eye of wisdom, you infer the presence of electricity. In the same way, look at yourself. Every moment you can infer the presence of God. Sthitam, bhunjanam. Every moment you are doing bhoga. You are perceiving the sense objects. The eyes are perceiving the color and the form. The ears are perceiving the sound. The skin is perceiving the touch. The nose is perceiving the smell. The tongue is perceiving the taste. Perception is going on. How are you knowing it? In the light of consciousness, you are aware of the color. In the light of consciousness, you are aware of the sound, the taste, the smell. How are you knowing it? That light of consciousness is Bhagavan. This is how you infer. How far is that consciousness from you? It is not far, it is me, myself. Not even near. Even to say it is near is wrong. It is me, myself. It is my own higher nature. Shift your attention there. Bhunjanam. Gunanvitam. Endowed with the gunas. Now when you look at your mind, these are the three gunas which play in the mind. What are the three gunas? Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. When the mind is in the sattvic state, it is alert, it is peaceful, it is cheerful, all the noble thoughts pass through. When the mind is sattvic, how are you aware of this sattvic mind? You are conscious of your mind, isn't it? That consciousness, shift your attention there. When the mind is rajasic, highly restless, highly extroverted, sensuous, disturbed, agitated, this is a rajasic mind. Even in that rajasic mind, how are you aware of your rajasic mind? In the light of consciousness, you are aware. Shift your attention to that consciousness. When the mind is in tamas, what is the state of that mind? It is dull, it is lazy, it is sleepy, it is inadvertent, careless. That is the state of mind. But you are aware of that state, isn't it? That light of awareness, that light of consciousness, shift your attention there. Sthitam, bhunjanam, gunanvitam and utkramantam. And finally, in somebody else's body, when this touch of life departs, utkramanta means departing. When there, very many times, that person dies in your lap. Very many people come and say, Swamiji, my father died in my lap. So what has happened? Utkramantam. What has left? Earlier the consciousness was lending sentiency to the body. Now that consciousness has become incapable to keep the body alive. So what has departed? The life principle has departed. As far as the physical body is concerned, both are same, before death and after death. What is it that is missing? The sentiency principle is missing. Who is he? None other than Bhagavan. Shiva has become Shava. Because of whom? Isn't it? Shift your attention there. But in order to shift that attention, what you should have? Jnana chakshu. Now don't think Jnana chakshu is somewhere here, the third eye, a crack comes and one eye pops out. People have some strange ideas like this. Jnana chakshu doesn't mean, of course we call it third eye also, no doubt, but it's not something which comes out here. It is the eye of understanding. It's the eye of knowledge with which you see, you infer the presence of Bhagavan. That is that Jnana chakshu. And how to get that Jnana chakshu? There is no other way. You must go to a teacher, you must learn the scriptures. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshyanti tam jnanam upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. There is no other way. We have to go to the Mahātmās. We have to go to the, what you call, Shastras, the Guru. Then only this Jnana chakshu will be opened. If that Jnana chakshu is not there, Vimudaha na anupashyanti. Very, very clearly Bhagavan is dancing in front of you in every experience of yours, but you don't have the eyes to see. Na anupashyanti. You remain blind. Pashyannapi chana pashyati muda. Though they see, they don't see. In order to see, you must have that eye of knowledge. How to develop that eye of knowledge, we will see tomorrow. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.